7 tons of smoked fish are being transported into the country. Total number of fishermen stands at 379, out of which only 40% are Gambians. At Tanje, Minister Guy reiterated his ministry's resolve to work earnestly with the fisherfolk to boost up the industry for socio-economic development. In the same vein, he emphasized his ministry's commitment to implementing what he called comprehensive plans with all the centers in no too distant future. For Grts News, I am Estomane.
He was head of the billion-plus worldwide Catholic Communion during a time of turbulence characterized by scandals the Catholic does not want to be associated with. But now Pope Benedict XVI wants to retire. Last week's unexpected announcement sent reverberations far and wide. But how did Gambian Catholics receive news of the development that was last heard of some 600 years ago? Well, Samuel Barr went to find out, and he now reports.
Pope Benedict XVI was elected to head the Roman Catholic Church in 2005 after the death of Pope John Paul II. He has since then set the pace for one of the world's leading religions, building on the solid foundation laid by his predecessor. The decision by His Holiness Pope Benedict XVI to resign later in February 28 this year came as unexpected announcement from the Vatican, ultimately raising concerns among many. The Catholic Diocese of Banjul fully respects and subscribes to such a decision by the Pontiff on the grounds of ill health, which may prevent him from living up to his task.
I fully respect and deeply admire the integrity and the courage that led him to do this. Such qualities were part and parcel of his leadership as Pope over the last 8 years, whether we agree or disagree with some of his decisions. In this case, it was his own personal conviction that he was simply unable to shepherd the flock due to physical and spiritual fatigue. The stamina that is required to respond to the multitude of issues that face any pope today has to be recognized.
After 600 years since the last Catholic pope made such a decision, clergies believe it is most appropriate that a pope of Benedict's standing has revived such a precedent for all future successors.
A leader with such a responsibility, you need to deliver. You need to perform, you need to carry out your roles and responsibilities as expected of you. And if ill health and age-wise you cannot do that, then it is best for you to step aside and allow somebody else to come in and carry on. Because it will be of no use, if you know that you have such a responsibility, such a weighty responsibility, and you have such, roles and things to carry out, especially spiritually, and you cannot fulfill them, then you are not doing justice to yourself.
He has created a precedence that when somebody cannot do what is expected of him or her, he or she should really tell the people that you have given me this, I can't do it anymore. So please forgive me, let me step down. You can't call it resignation. The news media is saying resignation, but it's not resignation. He is retreating because he will continue with the prayer life. He will continue with advising us. He will continue with helping us and guiding us.
However, for many Catholics, the Pope's decision was born out of personal and prayerful conviction that he is unable to head the church due to physical and spiritual fatigue.
He quite clearly mentioned that the spirit was willing, but the body is no longer willing. And it's only reasonable for somebody to say that something of that nature, rather than trying to beat and cutting corners here when you know that at least to be a shepherd, definitely the body and the spirit must be willing to do the work. But where at his age now, he quite well realizes his weaknesses, though he's very strong in faith and spirit, but strength-wise, he thinks there are people who could better do the job. I think it is only fitting for a man of God to definitely give up the baton to somebody else to take over the mantle of leadership of the Catholic Church.
I was shocked because this has never in my lifetime heard that a pope is resigning from the post until when you hear that he is dead, that somebody is newly elected to take up the responsibility. So this definitely had left me dumb, deaf, and I don't exactly know what actually is happening, but I believe this is the work of God. He is led by the Holy Spirit, and solely we will get somebody to replace him, and he'll be performing like how he was doing.
It came as a surprise, really. But then again, for me, it's a lesson that we must learn. The fact that he has gotten to a point and realized that his health really can't allow him anymore to function as he would have loved to do. I think that is a lesson for us all to learn, so that us, his followers, or followers of Christ like him, if we get to a point that we realize we can't really do as we are expected for whatever reasons, we should just humbly resign.
The decision by the Roman Catholic cardinals on the pontiff's replacement remains unclear, but until then, many are hopeful that whatever the outcome is, it is clearly the will of God.
Only God knows, but the Spirit of God goes to wherever it likes. Nothing can dictate the Spirit of God, be it African, Asian, be it from anywhere. Once that person who is going to be chosen is a Catholic, the Spirit will guide.
I believe if a family of God is divided amongst itself, that is the beginning of its downfall. For me, irrespective of whosoever leads the Catholic faith, we should still unite behind that person and see ourselves as servants of God and not the servant of that individual. So for me, color is not a divisive issue.
As Pope Benedict XVI calls it a quit as head of the Roman Catholic Church, hopes are high that his successor will further imitate him on key areas that he is said to have registered tremendous success, such as interfaith dialogue. Samuel Ba, Grts.
In its bid to promote agriculture and enhance agricultural productivity, Kanilai Group International recently tested a multifunctional tiller to ascertain its suitability. Asetumane witnessed the demonstration exercise and she prepared this report.
The agricultural sector is one of the most important sectors of the country and accounts for a significant chunk of the country's total labor force. For a sector that employs a great number of the population either directly or indirectly, any improvement geared towards the overall advancement can go a long way towards eradicating poverty and hunger. Kanilai Group International is bent on taking the bold step of alleviating the suffering of the farming community from using rudimentary agricultural instruments to Aroka, a handy multifunction motor cultivator.
KGI is ready to and KGI is in terms of agriculture. This is why we have on this machine because it can do a lot. It can do a lot, both watering, tilling, harvesting, different activities that it can do. Because here in the Gambia, mostly we rely on manpower. You need to work with people to come and weed your land, your farm. You need to call people to go and clear your farm. You need to invite people to go and harvest. A lot of activities that are done here are done physically. But if we have a machine that can do a very vast land, it may not be very much useful. We may not need to call a group of people to come and work.
This machine performs 8 different agricultural activities from weeding to tilling, spraying and power generation, plus other activities that are all meant to ease the workload on farmers across the country.
Weeding is our main problem here in the garden here. So this tractor, this power tiller, is a multi-purpose. And we have seen it, how it tilts and how it tilts the ground. So that's our main problem here. So if this one is around, then that means that there is a limit of job on our area now.
The demonstration exercise was witnessed by officials from Seno Limited plus KGI and other stakeholders, and they were all satisfied with the performance of the high-powered machine, which many believe